The night of October the 6th, 1985 is a long way off, but those who were there will never forget it. Hundreds of young people, black and white, including 16-year-old Nicky Jacobs, clashed in long-running battles, which ended in murder and tragedy. A week ago, Nicky Jacobs was found not guilty of the murder of PC Keith Blakelock. It's a cloud that's hung over him for 29 years. This is the first time he's given an interview.
I saw it as my right to go and throw stones at police and that, you know, and to be honest with you, I think, looking back, they expected that because they didn't show any respect.
The death of Tottenham mother Cynthia Jarrett had fuelled the anger of those who chose to riot, and it certainly coloured their attitudes once they heard a police officer had died.
Miss Jarrett had died like the day before or something like that, so for me it would have been, I would have had that feeling of, well, it's tit for tat.
Was there a moment in your mind at 16 where you thought, oh, I missed the main event?
It did cross my mind. It did cross my mind because I think, like I said, at that time, the wickedness that the police used to do to like the black community, yeah, it was like it was celebration times.
Nicky Jacobs' lawyers decided he shouldn't give evidence at the Old Bailey. He says if he had, he would have said he was nowhere near where PC Blakelock was murdered. He was too busy elsewhere lobbing stones and Molotov cocktails, for which he was sent to prison for 8 years in 1986.
You know, I was on the estate when PC Blakelock died, but I wasn't there. I wasn't in no crowd chasing him. I wasn't in no crowd urging anyone on to do anything to him. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that they tried to put me there, but I wasn't there. So, like I've said, I always sleep at night knowing that I'm not guilty. What I'm saying is, I didn't kill PC Blakelock.
Where were you when it happened?
I was on the estate, running around like a lot of other kids.
But we know the murder took place at Tangemere and you weren't there.
No, I wasn't nowhere near Tangemere. And whoever said that they saw me there, you're wicked.
At his trial, Jacobs and the family of PC Blakelock listened to the evidence from alleged eyewitnesses to the murder who put themselves and Jacobs at the scene.
Nicky Jacobs innocent! Free Nicky!
The jury too decided the evidence was unreliable. Jacobs says he can't understand why those who admitted to kicking PC Blakelock were allowed to give evidence against him.
Even the witnesses, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them. I mean, I've always grown up in a life, I wouldn't say it's a lifestyle, but in a life where certain things you don't do, but on top of that, to just lie, don't care about no one else's family, because these guys are the only people who said they took part in the murder of PC Blakelock, be it without a weapon or not. And they got rewarded. I want a mansion, I want a villa, a nice sexy wife who can cook me dinner. She have to be romantic, a faithful lover. Give me a couple youths, a son and a daughter. Send them to school to learn.
One of the key planks of the prosecution case was a so-called rap poem in which Jacobs, aged 18, described in detail the murder of PC Blakelock. It was presented as a confession. Jacobs says it reflects the feelings of a young man who'd lost hope in prison, but not yet in life.
This is about a 16-year-old boy. I'm 45 years of age. Do you know what I mean? All these things, this rap poem, all that, this is all, I'm a little boy who thinks he's a big man.
But there were particular lyrics that the prosecution
yeah.
focused on, weren't there? You know, chop him on the hand, chop him on the finger, chop him on the shoulder, head, chest, chop him all over, and then he's killed. I mean, when you were writing that, what were you trying to express? Because the prosecution said it was a admission.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look and you see the lyrics, it never says, I, Nicky Jacobs, says I or me. It's always we.
Despite his anger at the decision to prosecute him with unreliable witnesses and contradictory evidence, Jacobs still feels that as much as him, the family of PC Blakelock were not well served by his trial.
If that was one of my family members, I would want justice. I'd be outside the courts, I'd be petitioning, doing whatever. I would want that. But at the same time, if I had to sit down in a court for 6 weeks and hear that so-called justice about someone else, then I'd be angry. I'd be angry and disappointed at the system and the establishment that my husband died for.
Nicky Jacobs has been found not guilty. His claims of innocence justified by the jury's verdict. It will take him a lot longer to overcome the trauma of being on trial for a wicked crime where the killers still elude justice.